Welcome to Constitutional Law Series Episode 6. Today we are going to deal with Article 1. Previously on Law Map, we dealt with the intricacies of the preamble and the link to the video is present in the description box. Article 1 is the first article of the Indian Constitution. It falls under Part 1, which talks about Union and its territories. The article is explained across 3 clauses. Clause 1 defines the basic nature of Indian polity. It specifies that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. To begin with, the article specifies 2 names by which the country can be called, India and Bharat. Union of states refers to the sum total of states in India that forms the country. The entire clause underscores the unity and integrity. The motivation behind using the term union is to indicate that India is not a unitary state. This allows for accommodation of regional diversity and promotion of cooperative federalism. It also shows that both states and the central government must work towards the common good of the country. In a compelling tone, Dr. Ambedkar had explained that the term union was placed instead of federation to clarify that states in India do not have the right to secede from the country. In this way, all states at all times will remain the part of India or Bharat. Clause 2 provides information on Schedule 1 of the Constitution. Schedule 1 was added to the Constitution through the 7th Amendment in 1956. It contains the names of all states and union territories that form India. Clause 3 provides the composition of India or what is India constituted of. Quite inevitably, it includes the states and union territories under the first schedule. But a curious element in this clause is the point that India is also comprised of those territories it may acquire. The usage of the term acquire is a symbolism of an ambitious and an expansionist nature and the possibility of taking over territories by the country. All articles in the Constitution are a sum total of dialogue and deliberation that occurred in the Constituent Assembly sitting. After a drafting committee framed Article 1 of the Constitution, it was put for debate before the Assembly on November 15 and 17 of 1948. Let's have a quick look at some of the amendments proposed by the members to Article 1. H.P. Kamath initiated a motion to substitute the term state with Pradesha. The reasons given by him for the suggestion included the term state has been extensively used in different portions of the Constitution and in each context the meaning is different. So using a similar term in an introductory portion will only cause confusion. Since similar words are used in the Constitution of the United States of America, using a similar term in Article 1 of the Indian Constitution is a clear case of blind copying and imitation. The term state also has a British influence because during their rule, the Indian territories were called Indian states. This amendment was opposed vehemently by the members. They reasoned the term Pradesha is only a Hindi translation of the English word state. It doesn't contribute anything in particular or doesn't even enhance the meaning of Article 1. The draft constitution is being written in English and it is only suitable to stick to the English vocabulary. Some members even exclaimed that this is a case of hodgepodge linguism. It is a case of imposing one language into a fundamental document meant to cater to the needs of an entire country with linguistic diversity. K.T. Shah proposed that instead of India shall be a union of states, it's better to write India shall be a secular, federal, socialist union of states. He regarded that using these set of words will establish aspiration for the Constitution and also put forward the political character of the country. He states the term union refers to the aggregate of states that form India, and the term federal is used to mean India is not a unitary state. Apart from this, the terms like secular and socialist guarantees the people of India a just order. This was also opposed by the members on the grounds. Firstly, the aspects of socialism and secularism are already present in the constitution in the form of articles, so it is unnecessary to mention it in Article 1. Such terms which define a future political structure should only find place in the preamble and not in the introductory portion. Article 1 is located in Part 1, written as Union and its territory. This is not a suitable place to define the principles. Mahavir Tyagi moved a motion that republican states and sovereignty of India shall reside in the whole body of people must be present in Article 1. He states that such ideals should not be limited to preamble alone. After all, preamble is not even a part of the body of constitution, which makes it essential to define it in the very introduction itself. By this, it guarantees that sovereignty always lies with the people of the country and not with the king. This suggestion was opposed on a very simple ground that such foundational aspects are already written in clarity within the preamble, and repetitive inclusions in the article is unnecessary. K.T. Shaw also suggested that the words equal inter se must be added before the state. This is an indication to strive towards the equality of political status. The components that form India, which are politically and geographically demarcated, may not be equal in terms of development and advancement. So, inclusion of equal inter se will assure the state that they will always be treated equally by the government. This idea was also rejected on the ground of being vague and impractical. Nazaruddin moved a motion to state that it is better to call the country United States of India because he found this to be more dignified. He attempted to validate his motion by stating that we can strike a balance between the East and the West if we adopted this expression. This idea was also rejected because it amounts to a case of imitation of the United States of America. There were a handful of members who preferred to use the term Bharat and discard the term India from Article 1. Although it was widely debated, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar sided with an argument that the country has been known as India throughout history and it's better to retain this name. As a matter of fact, Indian Constitution was written across Hindi and English. And in both the translations, India and Bharat have been harmoniously employed to avoid a futile debate of language. India versus Bharat is a misunderstood linguistic debate embroiled in religious and political gimmicks. The controversy originated centuries ago, but the issue tends to resurface time and again due to peculiar reasons. In 2023, the debate gained traction again when media widely reported that BJP-led central government was going to introduce a bill in the parliament to discuss the change of country's name from India to Bharat. At the very outset, it is important to clarify that Bharat is an ideological and a historical name, whereas India is a constitutional and an international name. The name India has a foreign origin. The term was applied by outsiders to refer to the land south and east of Indus or the Sindhu River. There are also records by Greek historian Megasthenes, while visiting the court of Chandragupta Maurya, had used the term India to refer to the territory. Contrary to the BJP narrative, the name India does not have a British origin because the term had come to usage by Persians and Greeks, which was way before the colonization attempts in 16th century. For British, India was only a designation for a geographical area. The term Bharat finds its place in the earliest scriptures in Vedic and Puranic period. In Rig Veda, the tribe named Bharata, who lived on the banks of Saraswati River, had defeated attacks of invaders from east and the west to establish a territory called Bharat. In Puranic period, the first Jain Tirthankara Rishabha had given his throne to son Bharata to become an ascetic. King Bharata conquered several territories during his time to establish Bharatavarsha. Yet another inception tale is also associated with legendary Emperor King Bharata, son of Dushyant and Shakuntala, who fought epic wars to establish the kingdom. There is no definitive origin story for the birth of India versus Bharat debate. However, a loose string of events that may have potentially fueled this debate can include the Indian Renaissance. This is a pre-political phase of anti-colonial struggle where Indians were involved in social and cultural preparation for a unified nation. To gain support for this movement, the Indian leaders resorted to embracing ancient Indian roots to secure the feeling of Indian nationalism. During this time, the name India was shunned for reason that it is a foreign term curated by the British imperial power. The Constituent Assembly debates. When Article 1 was being discussed in the Assembly, there were amendments proposed to change the name to Bharat and to discard the usage of the term India. But as we know today, both terms get placed in the document. The dispute over the name is deeply seated in a faulty interpretation of associating India with British, and in most occasions, the dispute is utilized to get attention or divert attention from matters of political interest. The BJP had for the longest time placed the demand to address the country as Bharat. Later in September 2023, news emerged again that BJP-led centre was going to introduce bill in a parliamentary session to change the name from India to Bharat. This is not a standalone incident. It is influenced by several events. July 2023. In a bid to overthrow the Modi government in the upcoming elections, the opposition party formed a 26-party alliance called the Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, and the acronym being India. For very obvious reasons, this did not sit well with the ruling party and called the group as a corrupt and a self-serving entity. In July 2023, BJP Rajya Sabha MP Naresh Bansal stirred the issue in Rajya Sabha by stating that India was a symbol of colonial slavery and should be removed from the constitution. In September 2023, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh Chief Mohan Bhagwat, while addressing a meeting at Assam, spoke that people should stop using India and instead use Bharat. He emphasized the need to globalize indigenous language to an international forum. In the same month, the Assam Chief Minister took to X to state that he was happy and proud to be a part of the civilization of Bharat. And all this culminated to the most important G20 summit in the same month. The dinner invitations in the G20 summit bore the name of Draupadi Murmu as the President of Bharat as opposed to the President of India. It was speculated that the government made this powerful statement to inform the global representation at the summit. In addition to this, during the G20 meetings as well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi positioned himself in front of a card that read Bharat and not India. All these events triggered an extensive debate across the country regarding national identity and country's historical nomenclature. Amid all this, Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur rubbished the news of amendment by stating that these were only rumours spread by the opposition to seek attention for their newly formed alliance. The news was, however, met with several reactions from different quarters. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor opined that he sincerely hoped the government was not foolish to completely dispense with the term India, which has gained incalculable brand value across centuries. A fine solution is to continue to use both the terms, which has been in practice since the inception of the Constitution. The Supreme Court has been a host of several public interest litigations filed across years to change the name of the country from India to Bharat. In all of them, the court dismissed the petitions on very rational grounds. The court said, India and Bharat, both the terms are used in Article 1. There is no reason why one term has to get preference over the other. If you're willing to call your country as Bharat, you may do so. And if you're willing to call your country India, they may do that as well. The court also highlighted that it is not right to misuse the public interest litigations and waste the time of the court. But in some occasions, the court had sent representations to the government regarding the issue, but this failed to render any response. If the government wants to use only Bharat and not India, they must change Article 1. This means an amendment on Article 1 will become necessary. Any amendment to the Constitution is governed by Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. The steps to amend Article 1 will include: first, introducing a bill in the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. Second, passing the bill by both houses with a 2/3 majority. Third, sending the bill to the President for assent. And fourth, the bill has to be passed by at least one half of the states in India in their own assembly. This process is extremely meticulous. As evident as it is, only those governments with a majority in both houses and states can pass an amendment seamlessly. But considering the political diversity in India, amendments are not an easy procedure to conduct. There are precedents outside India where countries had changed their name in an attempt to separate and distance themselves from the past of oppression. Siam to Thailand in 1939. The country changed its name to assert the unity against the Western colonial influence. The new name Thailand means land of the free, which emphasizes the country's independence and national pride. Zaire to Democratic Republic of Congo in 1997. The country changed the name to distance from the authoritarian rule of a dictator for over 3 decades. The new name emphasized the return to a democratic governance. As it stands today, there is no finality to this issue. There is neither any news on the progress of the bill for changing names, nor is there any statement provided in this direction. What seems fair and practical is to adopt a dual language approach, which the Constitution has peacefully incorporated. There doesn't seem to be any urgent need to change the name of the country to appease and fulfill unprincipled political leverage. Thank you for watching. Feel free to write down your opinions on the topic in the comment box. For more such content, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next video.